Hello guys, welcome to Open Techno. Today we're going to take a look at the first phone from the brand LAGENIO on the channel. This is the LAGENIO RHINO 1 Pro, a rugged phone that, as you'll see, has a really special feature. If you look at the back here, this speaker is going to give us a really good impression. Let's start the review of this LAGENIO RHINO 1 Pro phone by looking at its design. It measures 18 centimeters in height, 8.6 centimeters in width, and 1.8 centimeters in thickness, with a weight of 440 grams. We'll explain that later with its battery and some of the components we find on the back. We're looking at a big and heavy phone, but it's nothing like other rugged phones we've seen on the channel, which were extremely large, heavy, and awkward to handle, right? In this case, we have a phone that's bigger than usual, but it could be manageable for daily use without much trouble. To give you an idea of its size and weight, it would be like carrying two phones in your pocket. For example, sometimes I carry my personal phone and my work phone, so this would be like carrying two phones all the time, just so you can get a sense of what it feels like. Now, this rugged phone comes with an IP68 and IP69K certification, as well as a military certification, the 1000 standard 810H, which protects it against water, dust, and drops from up to 1.5 meters onto concrete. Also, being a phone made for outdoor use, it can operate in temperatures ranging from -20 to 55 degrees, which is really good. It has quite sturdy physical buttons with good build quality, which we noticed right from the start. And with a comfortable, customizable button that could be used, for example, for Save Our Souls or emergency functions. But I have set it up, for example, so that with one touch it turns on the flashlight. In addition, we have rubber protection on each of its corners and sides, and it also comes with a wrist strap. For example, if you're hiking in the mountains and want to take a picture, you don't have to worry about dropping your phone because you can attach this to the corner of your phone. We put it on like a wrist strap, and this way the phone is secured at all times. Did I mention that the weight is justified by its battery? We have a 12,000 milliamp hour battery, one of the largest for the segment of phones we're talking about. This phone has semi-fast charging at 33 watts with the charger and cable included in the box. We also have 5-watt reverse charging in case we want to charge another device. That is, this phone can work as a power bank when we go on our trips. On the other hand, regarding battery usage, we can expect an estimated 14 hours of video playback and 79 hours of calls. And for many of us, the average battery life of this phone will be around 2 days. We can easily get through a whole day without any problem, even if we use it heavily. Of course, there are some features, like the flashlight on the back, which I'll show you later, that will consume quite a bit of energy. Now, we're starting to discuss the multimedia section. 6.9-inch screen with a resolution that's a bit higher than high definition, but we don't have a standard full high definition, and it has a 120 Hz refresh rate. This means it won't give us the sharpest image on the market, but it will give us a super smooth image, and after all, it's an optimization. Because we don't need a graphics card that moves a lot of pixels, it's simply a screen that's basic in terms of resolution, but it does give us really good smoothness. It's very well protected with Corning Gorilla Glass 5 and has 600 nits of brightness for when we're outdoors, which gives us enough light. And since we're talking about multimedia, we can't forget about the rear speaker it has. A stereo speaker that will give us really good power and a quality similar to what a speaker would give us. Typical of those Bluetooth speakers, the ones we take to the shower or play at home while doing household chores. Well, this speaker would be very similar. In fact, we'll be able to see that it has the option to transmit sound via Bluetooth from, for example, our television to this speaker, because as I said, Bluetooth will be activated as a receiver. Honestly, it's a sound that, when you have it in the palm of your hand and play a YouTube video, makes your phone vibrate and rumble. And what about the sound quality? Although it's not, of course, like a professional speaker, it does give us very good power, and to give you an idea, it's like the typical Bluetooth speaker we have at home. For that, it's great for playing music while we do chores.
Let's see, let's check it out. Let's now
Without moving away from the cameras, we're going to have a module with 64 megapixels in its main camera. It's going to take good photos, especially when we're outdoors, when we're in good lighting conditions. It's not an amazing camera, but it's a camera that's going to give us acceptable results. Then, regarding video, we have full high definition video. We don't have 2K or 4K at all, and we do have a macro mode for taking closer photos. On the other hand, on the front, there's a module that will allow us to take selfies with up to 8 megapixels of resolution. As I said, these cameras get the job done, but as you can see, the results aren't spectacular. Later, we'll talk about whether it's worth it or not because the price of this phone is affordable. You have to take everything into account now in terms of performance, memory, storage, and so on. We have a Unisoc T7250 processor with a speed of 1.8 GHz. In addition, we have the Mali G57 GPU, which together gives us enough performance, enough to handle the screen we have. And what about the 120 Hz refresh rate? You'll see that it's a phone that works for everyday tasks like web browsing, social media, instant messaging apps, or even some games. I've been playing Asphalt 8 and also Geometry Dash, a game that honestly came out years ago, and it was nice to remember it again. It ran both of them smoothly at 120 Hz without any problems, and will also be able to navigate through the menus without any issues. Also, I should mention that it has 256 gigabytes of storage for media, photos, and videos. It has 8 gigabytes of RAM, which can be expanded up to 24 gigabytes. By using swap, that is, taking internal storage from the phone, we could reach up to 24 gigabytes of RAM. On the other hand, we will have a removable card module that will allow us to insert a micro-secure digital of up to 1 terabyte. Also, I'd like to mention that it also allows us to insert 2 SIM cards. As for the operating system, we have Android 16 with a minimally customized layer, which I have noticed does have some bugs, but it will be updated over time. Right now, we have the latest Android operating system. We also have SIM near-field communication Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.2, and all kinds of global positioning system sensors. GLONASS, Beidou, Galileo. What we really don't have is 5G, but honestly, for me that's not necessary. Nowadays, you can live perfectly fine without it. On my personal phone, I use 4G, I don't turn on 5G, simply because of battery consumption. Just so you get an idea, finally, I'll mention that we're going to have a speaker, as I already told you, with 130 decibels for outdoor use, and a camping flashlight, which you'll see now when I turn it on, has a pretty spectacular brightness. What is this useful for? Well, you know, for when we want to, for example, go camping, or if we're in the mountains and it gets dark and we need to light up an area, well, you know, we're going to have this camping light that will give us spectacular brightness, more than enough for any kind of nighttime situation we might find ourselves in. Now, what is the price of this device? This LAGENIO RHINO 1 Pro Well, the device costs 269 euros on the official website. However, if we find any kind of deal, as always, we'll leave it for you below in the description. Now, I also want to know, what do you think about this LAGENIO phone? Did you find it interesting? Would you buy it? And any questions you may have, you can leave them in the comments. That being said, I hope you liked the video. If so, don't forget to leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.